Good evening and welcome to Omnibroslive. I am Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault, joined by my fabulous co-host Giovanni from Weekend Geekdom. Geek, how are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Finally, a one-on-one with the Omnidog himself. I am super happy about that. We dumped everybody else. Let's just focus on the real stars of this show.
That's right. Everybody's favorite, Gio. And nobody here to talk over you. You won't have to sit like a wallflower, quiet in the corner. You're going to get your half of the show to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And no one's going to step on your lines or anything.
All right. Let's leave Omar and Gabe, the celebrities, doing their thing at C2E2.
Yeah, they can go interview whoever they want to interview. We're going to talk about comic books.
All right.
And if you want to get your comic books in collected edition form, the place you want to go is in Stocktradescom, or also known as IST, in Stocktradescom, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add another 2% to that. Every quarter, there's an Omniboslive discount code. If you live in the United States and you order $50 or more, you get free shipping, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's in Stocktradescom.
You got to make a jingle out of it. Like add some cool music and stuff. I'll work something out.
I asked Nate Berkholtz to come up with something. I did write some lyrics, but he's busy building himself a tiny house. So
oh yeah. I've seen the pictures.
Busy with his life.
Yeah. Well, I make jingles at work. I could probably record you one of the episodes and just add some music on it.
That'd be cool. I can write the lyrics up again, and you can make some boppy music to it.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be cool. E. Tyler Lindvall is in the chat, and I want to say a special thank you to him because last Saturday, wait, today's Thursday? Yeah, last Saturday I put out a call on the Facebook page just asking people, if you see Mad Archives Volume 3, could you let me know? Because it is like a $250 book, which is $200 more than it is cover priced at. Its cover price is $60. You see it? Can you pick it up for me at cover price? And Eric found it for me at half off in a shop in Baltimore. Nice. And but E. Tyler messaged me yesterday and said he wanted to. He came upon his own copy of in his own collection and said, hey, I want to send you this. And I said, dude, that is so cool of you. I already have a copy, but thank you so much, dude. So E. Tyler Lindvall, also awesome. Known as ETL, thank you so much for the thought. That is was super awesome of you. I really appreciated the gesture, and that was really awesome of you. Thank you. And there's John Wilson, who sent me some Marvel stamps that were personally approved by the Queen of England, or Queen of the UK, or whatever she's the queen of. She's the queen. So thank you, John Wilson, for my stamps. They've already gone into the Omnidog fan mail book. It's a big binder with where I put all my mail, so it's got its own page. Thank you, buddy.
Much love. Much love.
Yeah, you're in there, as a matter of fact, Gio. I printed out something that you typed up about me, so I printed that out. I think I sent you a Mira variant.
Oh, yeah, the Art Germ variant for her solo series. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, well, you don't need to thank me again. I already printed out the thank you. I put it in the book. So tonight our topic is under the radar, underappreciated books, where we search through our collections, and we're going to. Oh, there's Drew Bloodworth. We haven't talked to him in a while. How's it going, Drew? We're going to try to reveal some books that you may not have heard of that are kind of obscure, under the radar, underappreciated. Books that we're going to try and turn you on to, let you know about things you may not have heard of. It's our job, really, to get these books known and out to you guys so you can learn about these books, get a good reading experience. And of course, Kristen Robertson said she was going to watch the show. She is the queen of independent books, and so we're going to try and stump the fangirl and see if we can come up with some books that even she hasn't heard of. So I don't know if she's in the chat yet. So she'll pipe up when she's ready. And if she's in the chat, so we can talk about what our parameters were. What did you sort of look for, Gio, when you went for your under the radar books? Oh, she's ready. Okay, Kristen's there and ready.
She's our curator. Okay,
right.
When I started picking out the books, I didn't go for. I tried to stay away from Marvel and DC because I feel like even though there are some obscure titles in there, at least everybody knows who the heroes or the protagonists are. So I as much as I wanted to recommend some obscure Aquaman stories, I had to stay away from that. And I went typically with the indie books or the others, as we like to call them, like Dark Horse, Image, that sort of stuff.
Right.
So that was basically my parameter for it, and just I let loose and picked out some random titles that I do not see being talked about on the Facebook groups. There's like 4,000 members on there, and everybody talks about certain books except the ones we're going to talk about. So yeah, that was basically my parameter.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I did it too. And there's Make Havoc, who got to see New Order sing Joy Division's Love Will Tear Us Apart. I saw it on the Bowie's turntable that he posted video of it. So Make Havoc had an awesome week seeing New Order sing some Joy Division. So way to go, Make Havoc. Michael Lombardo asking a good question. Was everyone successful with their IST orders this week? I did manage to get the Conan variant DM cover, and I got the Avengers DM cover, but certainly to my surprise, the Avengers 4 DM variant sold out yesterday. And
yeah, that was I did not.
Gabe predicted that. And he was right. Gabe was right about that. I knew the Conan one would sell out, but I stopped paying attention as to when it sold out. Do you know like how long it took it to sell out?
Conan, at least more than 5 or 6 hours, because I like it came out and I checked like 2 or 3 times that day and it was still there, and then by morning I think it was still there. I don't know, I'm not sure, but it lasted more than like the other ones, like the previous Conan, where it sold out really quick.
Yeah, that one sold out in 38 minutes.
Oh wow.
And Berserk, I think, was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was like 10 or 15 minutes according to Omar.
What's that?
Omar, that was 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes. With a grain
of salt. Yeah.
ETL is asking, did you pick up the Brubaker Authority? I did. I'm very interested in reading it. I'm probably not going to read it until, and I hope they don't cancel it, I get the Authority Omnibus.
Cursed it. They're going to cancel it now.
Yeah, because I sold my absolutes of it because they weren't complete anyway. The new absolutes and the new Omni are going to be complete, whereas the old the old absolutes were not complete. So so once I brush up on my authority, then I'll read Brubaker's authority, because Brubaker writing authority, to me, that just sounds so interesting. I've never known him to write. I guess the most science fiction-y thing to me he ever wrote was Fatale. I guess, or maybe Captain America. I don't know.
It does look. It's not something that you associate with him for some reason.
Yeah, it's always more crime stuff that you put together with Brubaker and Captain America. He's done some Batman. But yeah, the authority seems like it's way out of his normal comfort zone. So I'm really kind of excited to read that from him. Let's see. What else is going on in here? I mean, his Cosmic X-Men run. Well, that's true too. So why don't we start with your first underappreciated, under the radar book?
Okay. For my first selection, I went with an IDW book. I don't know if people have read this. It is called Falling for Lionheart. It's written by, I'm going to totally butcher this Greek author, Ilias Kyriatsis. I don't know if that's the proper pronunciation, but this comic book basically is sort of a spin on what if superheroes or heroes were real, people with superpowers, and you monetize that. The characters, there are a part of a squad that deals with crime and supervillains and all that stuff, and our main guy is called Leo Lionheart Hartfield. He is one of the squad members, and he's fallen in love with a character from the squad, but she's very shallow. She's a very blonde chick, and not necessarily the best girl to date. The way that he expresses his frustrations is by secretly writing comic books. He writes his own stories, his own adventures as an indie comic. So it tends to look like this. I don't know if everybody can see it, but like his artwork is, let me find a page inside the book. Like this is the stuff that he draws. And eventually, the main hook of the story is that another person, another girl, finds out about these comics, and they start falling in love and all that stuff. I really thought it was quite charming. It's short. It's a little not safe for work. It's not for the kids, but it's a fun twist on the whole reality, like superstardom of superheroes and all that stuff. I thought it was pretty decent.
Well, you've got Lameworks hooked. It sounds like Lameworks wants to get it right now. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, here's some of the artwork. I forgot to show the artwork. This is what most of the book looks like. And if I show something raunchy, you'll have to excuse me, because I'm not. I don't remember 100% the whole plot, because it's been a while since I've read it. But yeah, it's the celebrity's lifestyle of instead of a rock star, of a superhero, and it deals a little bit with PTSD and how a character, he deals with that frustration of not getting exactly what he wants and longing for a partner, a girlfriend in this case. And when he does meet that special someone, who I will show you in a second, right here, she is a comic writer herself. At first that he's a super powered individual, and eventually some stuff happens where of course stuff is going to hit the fan, as they say, But it's a very charming book. I liked it. I have a review on my channel if you guys want to check it out, where I go more in depth about it. So yeah,
but it's not safe for work.
There's a little bit of cursing and there's some exposed genitalia here and there because they're adults doing adult things, and I don't know. But for the most part, it's a very it doesn't have issues per se because it's like an original graphic novel per se, but it's like a standard paperback. And yeah, just don't wave it around kids and work.
Okay.
Just, you know.
Tyler Blunt reaching deep into his pocket and ponying up $1 in the super chat. Thank you, Tyler.
Wow.
Thank you for that $1. What do you want us to do for that $1 now?
Dance the Macarena.
So thank you for that $1.
Nice. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Chris M, clearly you don't understand how work goes. No, you're not supposed to work at work. You're supposed to read comic books at work. That's where Ryley gets all his comic book reading done, is at work.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, he's our avid reader. Like, that dude's insane.
Yeah, he is. Let me see if I have a my first one is Dragon's Breath and Other True Stories by Mary Naomi.
Interesting.
This is put out by, who is this put out by? I don't even know. Two Cloud plus Uncivilized Books. It is a memoir and graphic novel. It's her true life stories. She's got very simple writing style, but one thing she has is very compelling stories. You know, slice of life stories are a dime a dozen. You can just walk into any comic book store, and of course, Harvey Pekar is the one that really sort of set the bar. He and Robert Crumb set the bar for writing their lives down on paper, just going to the grocery store, seeing a movie, dealing with women in the grocery store lines and stuff. But Mary Naomi tells things from a woman's perspective. She's a fairly strong woman that is okay, is this safe? None of it is too graphic, but she does deal with some adult themes. And as you can see, the art, she's constantly working on her art. I mean, I follow her on Twitter. I had a Twitter friendship with her through 2014 and 2015, but then I stopped doing Twitter once I found the Facebook group, and I devoted, 100% of my life to the Facebook group. So, but she was very nice and very much of a good friend on Twitter. She really tells things truthfully and in an interesting way. She's never boring, and she doesn't leave out anything, but she doesn't tell too much. What I'm trying to say is she tells the interesting parts of her life and leaves out the dull parts. But she doesn't sugarcoat it, but she doesn't gloss over anything. So she tells you the interesting parts of her life, but she also tells you the bad parts that happen without making you feel sorry for or making you feel bad. And there's all kinds of things, you know, about the first time she made out with a guy, the first time she smoked cigarettes, when she was a bank teller for the first time in Mill Valley, California. And I just found it to be really remarkably interesting. And I just really liked it a lot. I just found it to be I found myself wanting to get to know her as a person because of these comics. You know, you can, if you read R. Crumb's stuff, his stuff is so honest and really, it shows the icky side of him. I have no desire to ever meet R. Crumb. He's so honest and personal. But Mary Naomi is like, I would like to hang with her. She seems to be a really honest, cool person. And I think she works so hard on her drawings and so hard on her writing. And I used to do her Patreon pages, and she was really good to her patrons. And I just really got a big kick out of Dragon's Breath and other stories.
Why is it called Dragon's Breath?
She has a delicate balance between the interesting and mundane. Yeah, that's exactly right. Nick, time to dig up old Omnidog tweets. That's right. I can't run for office. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she does. She has a delicate balance between the interesting and mundane. That is perfectly said.
That sounds like an awesome book. I'm very much interested in reading that, because yeah, you get a clever insight into these creative people and all the stuff that they went through. Sounds pretty good.
So I really enjoyed it, and I really found her to be somebody that she was going to be at, I can't think of the thing. It's in Bethesda, Maryland. It's the Small Press Expo. And she was going to be at that, and I was going to go meet her in 2015, but then it fell through. And then I got caught up roaming the country looking for books for people and stuff. And so I just sort of fell out of touch with her and doing other things. Oh, Kristan, I'm adding that to my cart now, Jess. All right.
All right, we're winning.
So, Kristan, had you heard of that before? Interesting. Did we stump the fangirl? That's cool. What's your next choice?
Okay, this is gonna free.
This is good. This is gonna what now?
Second choice, please don't get this. Freak everybody out, because you're gonna be. What are you doing reading that? You're like the moral compass of OmniBros. This is Mica Davos Unnatural, published here in America from Image Comics, and it looks very risque. It is very not safe for work because there's a ton of nudity in the book, but it is an interesting take on arranged marriages and the concept of society's standards for love and how people should be paired up and what is accepted. It talks about racism a little bit, but it's all in the disguise of anamorphic animals in the style of like a Black Sat or something. It's not as sophisticated or intricate as Black Sat, but you know, if you've read Black Sat, you know what I mean with the whole animal thing. where everybody, you know, follows a certain personality and all that stuff. It's very much, it's a lot more simplistic, but the whole theme with the marriages and stuff, sorry, intrigued me. Basically, the story is about Leslie, this blue-haired pig lady that is having some dreams about being with this white wolf, and she lives in this alternate Earth where you have to marry the same species. You can't marry somebody that's different from what you are. If you do that, you either get sentenced to jail or sentenced to death. And there's like a dating app that pairs everybody together, and everybody has to follow the same rules. Everybody has to follow natural law and all that stuff. So you can make the comparison with today's standards on love, marriage, romance, and all that stuff. And it's her journey. There's some crazy stuff that happens, some violent stuff that eventually goes down with some mythical stuff. But for the most part, it's a fun adventure. The writing, it's a little bit simple, but it's the themes and the gorgeous artwork. Let me pull up a page. I don't want to freak anybody out because there's a ton of well-drawn animals doing naughty things in here. It's it's surprising, but the art in it is really pretty. Check this out. I don't know if you can see the coloring and how the character designs and layouts and all that stuff. Mica does all the work herself. She colors, she draws, she does the whole shebang. She's a one-gal army, and I'm a huge fan of her artwork. Work on the Bombshells comic line, and I follow her on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, what's this unnatural about animals and stuff? I'll check it out, and you know, it's a fun ride. It's pretty obscure.
Has she done others
compared to other titles?
Stuff?
It says here that she's done Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, and DC Comics Bombshells.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know her from the Bombshell line because I followed the artwork on that comic line.
Yeah.
But I mostly found her commissions and drawings and it's pretty cool. I dig it. It's something different. That's what I like about comics, that you can have different stories about random stuff, whether it be anthropomorphic animals talking about love, sex and stuff. I mean, this is a pretty violent scene, but you can see how bright and vivid and all the colors are and stuff. I really like this. I think if you're willing to push aside that notion that it has to be just regular people talking, then I think you'll find something that you'll dig with this comic. Like, here's some more artwork. This is Unnatural, the first volume. I think it's 2 or 3 volumes long. The second one is coming out soon. It was published in Italy and Latin America or Europe, I don't know, somewhere. And it's coming out. It's coming out for the first time here in the U.S. We already have the first trade, and volume 2 is coming out in April. If anybody is interested in this sort of thing, I don't know. It's a quick, fun read. It's like 4 or 5 issues, and I thought it was pretty fun.
Cool.
So, yeah, Unnatural.
Okay.
I say freaked out because OmniBros, they were like, what is this? Especially Luis and Gabe. They were not a fan of it.
And yes, Kristan says, for the record, I gave her the title of Queen of Indie. She says she doesn't claim to know everything.
She knows more than us.
She does know more than we do about Queen. That's why I gave her the title Queen of Indie. Yeah. And I believe that she deserves that nickname, and so it's staying. Yep. You are still the Queen of Indie, Kristan. Nothing has happened to change that, as far as I'm concerned. My next choice is Dead Rider. by Kev Fariha. And this has not only a great story, but incredibly dynamic art that I'm going to show you. This is basically a guy that's a reanimated corpse because he gets a hex placed on him by the Bog Witch, and he's trying to get to the Bog Witch to lift the curse from him so he can actually die. Let me get some... so he can actually die, and he goes around dispensing justice on his way to getting back to the Bog Witch. These are great stories with unbelievable art, and the lettering is kind of like EC lettering from the 50s. And as far as I can tell, let me see if this is right. Does he do everything himself? Art, story, and lettering by Kev Fariha. So that is pretty incredible that he does it all. Now, some of it's dark, so I can't... Okay, this is really cool. So the story is, you know, supernatural. He's a ghostly outlaw stalking desert landscapes, but he's just looking to get even with the Bog Witch, and it's his adventures and on the plains of Nevada, and so the desert landscapes. And so this art is really 100% amazing. And as far as I can tell, this is the only thing that's been put out, Crown of Souls, Dead Rider. But it's just so great. Tells the history of him, how he was killed, how he got the hex placed on him, what he goes through to try and get the curse taken off him, his final showdown with the Bog Witch. You know, come for the art, stay for the story. It's really great. And let me show a little bit more of this. Ooh, here, this is good. This is really good.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Love it.
Isn't this so cool?
I mean, there's something eerie about the West, the Wild West, and spooky stuff. I dig it.
Yeah, me too. That stuff like Sixth Gun is I really like, and this is I really dig Dead Rider. This is I think I got this even before I joined the group, like back in 2014 or 2012 or something crazy. I got it a long time ago, but this guy's wildly talented.
It's one book, one volume?
Yeah, I haven't been able to find out anything else. Maybe there's more Dead Rider, but if so, I haven't. I mean, I can look it up, but I haven't been able to find anything else on it. If he did anything else, because it does have a, you know, it does come to a conclusion at the end. So I don't know. It's just a brilliant book. The guy's remarkably talented. Great writing, great art. It's by Dark Horse, so it shouldn't be hard to find.
I am going to order that.
Yeah, I think you would really dig this, Gio. It's really cool. Dead Rider by Kev Fariha. Okay, let's see, where am I putting my already read books? Okay. before go ahead and do your next one, but before I do my next one, I need to make sure that it's available in some kind of format.
Yeah. Okay. This one is actually one of my personal favorites when it comes to indie books, I guess. I don't know. I think you read it, Jess. It is Breath of Bones, A Tale of the Golem.
Oh, yeah.
From Miles. It is published by Dark Horse. This is an amazing story. It's fairly short. It's a short story about this town right in the middle of World War II, and the place is getting bombarded. This fighter pilot, if I'm not mistaken, crash lands on the town, and the town has this mythical or legend, I guess, about a protective golem. And the story delves into what it takes to, sacrifice oneself and protect others, and the value of that. And I think it's pretty badass. Especially, it's in black and white, but the art in it is riveting. I don't know if everybody can see it well. I was entranced by it. Here's the plane crashing. There's a right amount of detail where it just elevates the story from a simple magical tale to something more uplifting and inspiring, that in the face of tragedy, war, find that courage and be a hero, and not necessarily save lives, but like stand up against evil and do what's right. And you follow along this kid that is very upset, and it's very he's very angsty at the beginning, but as the story progresses, you see an evolution for the character where he learns about the town's history and the golem and the effects of war and all that stuff. Really, really awesome stuff. I highly recommend it. We were going to see the golem eventually. But yeah, great art, fantastic little story that I think a lot of people do not know about. So this is Breath of the Golem. I think it's still available. It should be. So yeah, that's one of my picks.
Yeah, that's a great book. I love that book. Let's see. My next choice is definitely not safe for anything.
Not safe for life.
Not safe for life, because I don't even know if I can. Let me see if I can show. Okay, I can. Okay, I can show this. This is another one of those slice of life things. It's so raw, and he's so famous for pissing off so many people because he includes everybody that he even brushes into contact with. He's a cartoonist known as Joe Matt, and it's Joe Matt's Peep Show. There is a collected edition on Amazon. This is he is not a good guy, and he's not afraid to turn the spotlight on himself and tell you that he's not a good guy. If you want to feel better by yourself, read Peep Show. This is not. I will just say this is not a book for women. He is a misogynist to the max. He is very immature. He has very few redeeming qualities. He is a simple cartoonist. He drew like an arc of Batman at one point, and let's see. He drew an arc of Batman at one point, And the big deal was that it was at a time when interest rates were high. And so he opened up a CD and he's living off the interest from it and doing little doodles in his Peep Show magazine. You can get it on Amazon. You may be able to get it on IST. I don't know. He's got a collection of his work. The only reason I'm suggesting it is if you are interested in honesty to the point of brutal rawness, where the guy it asks the question, can you be too honest? Because the guy shines the spotlight on himself. He drags in other people. And then when they get pissed at him, he writes about that. When the people get pissed at him, that makes the next issue. And he draws, you know, and he writes about that. Joe Matt, you're a jerk for talking about me like that. Oh, okay, that's the panel of issue 17. What happened in issue 16? And so,
wow.
He's addicted to porn. He does a bunch of weird, crazy things. He's friends with Seth and Chester Brown, two very well-known independent cartoonists, and he includes them in his drawings. And to me, I like slice of life things just because for some reason I like reading about other people's lives. I just always find it very interesting when somebody can actually illustrate their own life to the point where I can understand it and follow it. And usually there's something, somebody may think they have a boring life, but if you can illustrate events in your life, even the simplest thing in your life can be made interesting, I think. If you think you do nothing all day, if you can illustrate it, I think it can be made interesting. And so that's what I find interesting about Peep Show, is that he leads. Some issues are more disgusting than others. Some are just regular slice of life issues. So I definitely would not recommend women and or people without a strong stomach look into this, because he's not a good person, but he's entertaining to me. So that's why I like Joe Matt's Peep Show. And I've been reading that since the 90s.
Wow. There's something about reading about people, and just we're all different, and I think that's part of the fun of reading about somebody that can expose himself so raw. I haven't read it myself, but I can sort of understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Peep Show, was it, right?
Yeah, Chris M, it's real. You can look it up on Amazon. There's a collection of it. I looked it up before I before I suggested it.
Now I'm just imagining you're making the book minutes before the show and drawing everything. I'm like, this is real, guys. Okay, my next pick is a little bit quote unquote mainstream. It's not too indie. It's one of my favorite Image books that rarely gets mentioned. I talked about it a couple weeks ago with you guys. It's Manifest Destiny over at Image from Chris Dinges. I don't know. I'm probably butchering that name. And Matthew Roberts and a bunch of other people. This is the first volume. Basically, if you like historical fiction, if you like alternative history, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, this is basically the Lois and Clark expeditions, but with a more supernatural twist. You get to meet a whole cast of kooky characters, Sacagawea, or however you call her. Did I say that right? Sacagawea? Is that her
Yeah,
name?
you did. You said it exactly right.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's supernatural action adventure take. This first volume is called Flora and Fauna because if I remember correctly, there's like this zombie parasite virus and it's infecting the forest. The animals look like Swamp Thing monsters, and they're chasing after the Indians and settlers and all that stuff. And the art in it is very reminiscent of Terry Moore for some reason, like early Walking Dead stuff. It looks gory. It looks like here's a cool scene with the Swamp Thing monsters. It looks bright, colorful, and really expressive. But serious at the same time. There's a grittiness to it that I think people will enjoy. It's currently ongoing. I think I have up to the recent volume, volume 6, I think. And I don't know why we don't have an oversized book of this. It baffles me.
I actually do know the answer to that because one of the people in the chat asked the author that at a con, and he said sales of the book don't warrant a hardcover collection of it at this point.
All right. Well, we're doing a service to this book. I want you guys to buy this book and read it because it's awesome. I mean, where are you going to find Swamp Thing-looking dudes puking green puke on people, and you get soldiers, frontiermen killing monsters, and you get these badass ladies with pitchforks, and the monsters are afraid of fire, and Sacagawea is a total badass. She is my favorite character in this. I mean,
yeah, she's great.
Like, look at the detail on that gross-looking reindeer or deer, whatever. It's awesome. You guys,
it is great. It is a great book.
A fun time. If you like the Assassin's Creed games, it's something like that. But you know, Lois and Clark, and you get to do like a fictionalized version of Oracle books, something like that. So yeah, Manifest Destiny, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I second that. I highly recommend Manifest Destiny. I'm way behind on it, but I highly enjoy it.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah.
The next one, let's see, I've got one, two, I've got a couple more. The next one is kind of like a World War I meets Game of Thrones book. Meets Wizard of Oz because it's got flying monkeys, dragons, sea serpents, dwarves. It's got everything. It involves World War I. It's called Aerosmith. Gabe and I have talked about this book before. So smart in their fine uniforms.
I think I've seen that.
It's by Kurt Busiek with wonderful art by Carlos Pacheco. Now, it's currently out of print, but I still think you can get it for pretty cheap, but they're reprinting it. This was like back when Wildstorm was, this says a Wildstorm signature Picto novel. So smart in their fine uniforms. This is when... the idea is it's 1915. World War I is in Europe, but it's a war of wizards, dragons, vampires, and magic, as much as of bullets and barbed wire. Join Fletcher Aerosmith as he joins up in search of adventure and glory. See, you can fly, and you learn to fly, and you've got dragons and vampires and werewolves all over there in Europe. And there's magic, and look, the ship is in the air rowing using lightning to propel it. This book has cool. Kurt Busiek is like crazy great when it comes to writing. Dragons in it too. I mean, Kurt Busiek is so great when you think about the stuff he's written. Besides Astro City and Marvels and what was that other book he did that was so great? The one he's really famous for. You know, the Superman one. Somebody help me here. Oh, here's.
You're talking about.
Here's a big serpent monster with a cannon on its back. This is fighting in World War I.
Oh my god, it's fascinating. I love it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Look at all those dragons in the sky. This is World War I, man. This is cool. It's such a great story and really great art. Not Astro Secret Identity, yeah. Secret Identity, yeah.
The Superman story?
Yeah, that was the Secret Identity one that he did. So yeah, this book is, I don't know how, I think because it was Wildstorm or something, but it's way under the radar, and I don't think it got the attention it deserved, and maybe because it had a bunch of magic in it and not normal superheroes. But see, I'm a sucker for magic and vampires and werewolves and dragons and stuff like that, weaved into a normal setting. You know, World War I with dragons in the air and that monster with a cannon on its back. Hell yeah, that's what I want, man. This is comic book for sure, man. This is why I want to read a comic book.
Yep. Some
big creature with a big cannon on its back in World War I. You better believe it, man. This is what I want. So when it gets reprinted, this is, you want to go out right away and get Aerosmith, so smart in their fine uniforms. And that's not like the group. It's Arrow, like Green Arrow, Aerosmith. And it's by Kurt Busiek, and it's way good. Way
awesome.
Good.
I need to get it.
Yeah,
you had me at dragons.
Yeah. This is a guaranteed pleaser, Gio. You will definitely love it. It's got all the elements that make comic books great.
Awesome. Okay. I actually, I said earlier that I didn't want to look at the big two, but now I just realized that I have a big two book.
Good. That's okay.
So, yeah. This, I don't necessarily know if it's 100% obscure or under the radar, simply because the author is very famous, but I don't see it mentioned often in this character's, what do you call it? Selection of titles or must-reads. So my next pick is Jill Thompson's Wonder Woman, The True Amazon. I picked this up because of its crazy premise. Basically, it's a unique take on Diana and her growing up in Paradise and all that stuff. But it's the perspective of a young Diana as a spoiled princess, and all the stuff that she goes through growing up and learning what it means to, take responsibility and be the dignitary that she's bound to become. And, it's not about Wonder Woman. It's strictly about Diana. And it's a retooled origin. There's none of the Steve Trevor stuff. It's more Greek island based and more Greco-Roman influenced storyline. And it just has crazy artwork. I mean, this thing just looks really impressive to me. Like, it's almost like you're reading fresco in Paradise Island doing their thing, but here comes spoiled princess here. She's being a snotty brat doing her thing. And her mom is really agitated because she's not taking things serious. She's you know, she's being like a normal child growing up. She just happens to be the next in line to rule this island, and you get the famous icon that she is. The situation behind her becoming Wonder Woman is completely different, but totally makes sense, and actually is, you know the story of Wonder Woman, but this makes it a little bit more powerful, in my opinion. And Jill, you know, she does a great job writing. You know, giving voices to these characters that otherwise might not get the spotlight, because when you think about her mom and you think about Diana, and that's it. But here she fleshes out all the Amazonians and all of their customs and their ceremonies and gladiatorial fights, her origin stories for the island itself and all that stuff. So if you like Greco-Roman stuff, if you like history and you want a little bit of a superhero twist, and you love Wonder Woman, this enjoyed reading this. And this is, to me, one of my essential Wonder stories. I don't want to get too much into it, but here is some cool fights. It does get a little bit gory, I guess, near the end, because there's a huge fight with some people getting murdered, but it's pretty cool. And let me get a quick sketch. Here at the end, there's a sketchbook where they show you. Oh, dang it! I can't. There we go. They based the costume into a statue. I don't know if you've seen this, Jess. It's a Jill Thompson Wonder Woman statue. Yeah, they used the artwork from this book to make this one, and it's pretty badass.
Where's that available?
I think it's still in. It might have been. It's not in stock, but you can find it for a good price online.
That's awesome, man.
They did one for Cliff Chang for his New 52 stuff, and they did one for Jill's work here. It looks pretty awesome.
That does look awesome.
So, yeah, here's the actual costume in the book itself. You get an explanation. It's not based on the U.S. flag. It's based on something else. It's pretty good. Wonder Woman, the True Amazon from Jill Thompson. She does all the work herself, and it reads like a novel. It reads like this is something I would give a kid, so it could fuel her imagination, his or her imagination. It's that type of story. It does have a few R-rated moments, but for the most part, it's a wonderful read. I do think people should check it out.
Okay, good. Well, so far, the only thing that I've read that you've shown me is Breath of Bones. I don't think I've read anything else that you've shown me.
Yeah, and as for yours, I don't think I've read any either. I got to check those out.
Yeah. Okay. One of the last things, depending on time, is a Vertigo book that I don't think anybody's heard of. I think it's completely under the radar. It's called Red Thorn.
Never heard of it.
No, I think this went. I don't even know how I discovered it, because let's see when this first came out. David Bailey is the writer, with Megan Hetrick being the artist. Originally published Sigma Magazine, blah, 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 2015, 2016. So I would say it came out in 2016. Now, the concept is a young woman travels to Scotland. A young redheaded woman travels to Scotland from America to find out what happened to her sister. She was born 9.5 months after her 26-year-old sister died. So she died before she was even born. So she goes over to Scotland to try and find out what happened to her. What happens is that she gets involved in, of course, a centuries-old magical troll. Here's a troll under a bridge right here. Magical gods and demigods battle for control of two parallel worlds that are being fought over by these two godlike creatures. And she has, not only does she have powers, but her sister exists on a parallel world as a magical creature. There's lots of magic and gods and monsters and magic involved. And here's the thing. When she's involved, her name's Isla. When she's involved, the book is really strong. She's involved in the very beginning and the end of the book. The middle of the book is these two gods battling it out. And that's when the book gets a little weaker. When the guys, I would have to say the artwork is really good, I think. I think the guys don't bring anything particularly interesting to the table. Whoop, can't show you that. The guys are pretty much what you expect from the personification of gods on Earth. They bring nothing new to the trope of godhood. This guy's one of the gods right there. You get a lot of Scottish mayhem and interesting creatures and interesting history and fairy tale type fairies and lots of magical lore and myths and the Loch Ness Monster. Here she is right here, the personification of the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah.
That's cool.
Who happens to be in love with that red-haired god I just showed you. And here's the personification of the other god. They're kind of they're not as surprising. The reason I'm recommending the book is because of the women in the book. They are extremely interesting. Okay, wait. I can't. Some of the stuff is not safe for work lightly. Just very lightly. I wouldn't say it's, super not safe for work, but some of it, there's... Yeah. It's a Vertigo book, so it's, mature reader type stuff. But the artwork is really sharp, I think. But the reason I'm recommending it is because the women in it are very strong. And let's see, can I show you this? Yeah. The women in it are very strong and interesting and well done. And then there's book 2 where the coming war happens for control of both the planets that happen. And there's a couple of really interesting twists that happen that I didn't see coming. It's a fairly complex book. There's a lot of different scenes happening, a lot of different... a lot of surprises. So one of the things that happens with Isla is that whatever she draws actually comes to life. So that's a cool twist. And her partner in crime, so to speak, is a kid from the Middle East, that the maps he draws are magic maps that come to life. So Red Thorn, I recommend it, but I recommend it only with the caveat that the men are boring in it, and everything else, including the creatures and the monsters and the women are all interesting. It's just the two gods in it are pretty plain vanilla, just typical gods. So there you go.
Yep.
Red Thorn.
It sounds pretty awesome.
I read it twice today just to make sure I had a grasp of it, because it's not complicated, but it's got a lot going on in it.
Yeah.
A lot gets dropped in your lap at once, and so I read it twice today, and it took me a couple hours.
It's just the 2 volumes, or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it came out in 2016, 2017.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna have to be making some more purchases. Thank you.
Well, you have to stay within your budget now.
That's true. That's true. This is my final pick for tonight. Okay. Although, you know, we can do this. We can do a part 2 eventually, too.
Sure.
This is my final pick, and it's one of my favorite Image books. It is Brian K. Vaughan's Private Eye. This
nice.
Is the is this a deluxe edition? Whatever edition this is. It's the widescreen edition.
Right.
Thing. This was this was originally a webcomic. If people don't know, it's a very neo-noir heavily inspired book. It's like it's this noir tale that's in the veins of a Blade Runner story or something like that, where you have a main character that is investigating the disappearance of a character, and that leads on to more and more things as the story escalates. I don't want to get too into it because I think part of the fun is discovering about it, about all the characters and the world building that's done in this place, because this is an alternate Earth where, or the future, I should say, where we're saturated to the point where people, like there are people that want to go back to the way things are now, with the internet being as limited as it is. Here is people being, they're indulging themselves in, you know, they wear masks to conceal who they are so they can do some crazy things online and stuff, and it plays around with that concept and how much of our personal freedom is being taken away by technology, and how closer we are to each other, to a point where it's actually pretty scary. The art in it is fantastic from Marcos Martin. It looks pretty awesome. This is the Midtown bookplate edition, so I have this little doohickey thing that's signed by Brian and Marcos and Muntz Vicente. So yeah, this was a Midtown's exclusive, Midtown Comics.
And I don't have that. What do I have? I thought I had something cool. Where even is my edition of that?
I think you do have it.
I do have it, but I don't know where the hell is it all of a sudden.
It disappeared. Oh,
I'm sure it's unopened somewhere. Just a sec.
Yeah. Part of the fun of the book, it's that it's widescreen. So, because it's a webcomic. And I do remember when it was coming out that Brian said, you know, you pay whatever you want for it. You want to pay $2 or $3 or $5 or whatever, and you get to read it. And eventually they did put out this edition, which is pretty cool and just fantastic. Look at the wonderful colors on this thing. This is really impressive. I love the art in Private Eye. One of my, you could say, detective books, I guess, with the main character being this secretive badass, and with a very interesting backstory. His grandpa is a very interesting character. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Gabe, somewhat, but it's yeah, it's pretty awesome. And if you like a good noir, or like the kids like to say, neo-noir, this new era of spy stories and all that stuff, then definitely check it out. I do recommend it. I think this is, you know, Saga's pretty great, and Why the Last Man is pretty masterful, but I think this is high up there. I think this is one of Brian's best works, in my honest opinion. Private Eye. Like, yeah, you see some artwork right there. And it's pretty fun reading a book in this format. It's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, Private Eye. Do recommend.
Well, I have the special Just Brag edition that is still sealed.
It's still sealed.
As are all my books.
It does come with somebody out there's like, you don't have the real autograph. It comes with this, so I do have the real autograph.
Cool.
Here's the book plate. Yeah. Plus the thing that surprised me was that I got it for $13 because it wasn't selling, and they had like a summer blowout sale at Midtown Comics and their website. So I got it for $13 with some other books.
$13?
Yep.
It's a $50 book.
Exactly. It was apparently they had a ton of them and it wasn't selling, and I grabbed it as soon as I saw that price. It was 13 or 14, something like that.
Man, that's a big time score.
Yep. So yeah, if you're into that sort of genre, then Private Eye, it's awesome. That's my recommendations.
That's a big time score. Way to go. Where you can find other big time scores would be in Stocktradescom, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. They every quarter have, excuse me, have Omnibroslive discount codes. If you live in the United States, you get free shipping on orders over $50 or more. Fabulous customer service, I can promise you that. Fabulous packaging, I can promise you that too. That's in Stocktradescom, our fabulous sponsor, IST. We love them.
Yes.
And you love them too. We know that. So that's really it for me. I don't have the books I have now are so obscure, I don't even think I'm going to recommend them. They're so obscure. I'm like, no, I'm not going to.
We'll have to. Yeah, we'll review. I kind of want to do like a part 2. This was fun. I want to see some other obscure titles. Maybe we get some other bros on here talking about their titles as well.
Okay.
So I'm very interested.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah. And I want to know what you think. It's a little bit too obscure. I'm very interested in what you have under there.
Okay, I'll keep them separate. I won't file them away. Okay, well, thank you to the chat. Chat was good tonight. Thank you to everybody watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified. And Gio, where can they find you on the internet?
Real quick, before I say that, if everybody watching, whether it's here in the chat or later on, let us know down below with your obscure reads. We're very interested as well.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the conversation going.
Sure. I'm always interested in finding out about good books, no matter who publishes them.
Exactly. So, yeah, I want to read some recommendations as well down below. But for my channel, you can subscribe at A Week in Geekdom, where I do, monthly hauls and comic book reviews and anime, manga, and all that stuff. I didn't include manga in this video because I wanted it to keep it, comic centric. But if you guys want to see a manga episode, we'll do something with Ryley because he's the manga bro. Find me at A Week in Geekdom. Subscribe there for more content.
Nice. And you can find me, Omnidog, on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube and on Instagram on Omnidogs_Vault. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And on behalf of Gio and myself, I say peace and love, peace and love.
Yes.